Good morning, everyone. What's up? Hope you guys are doing well. Sorry, running a little bit late here. Just had to do a few things, but today's a Friday. To end off the week, we have a bunch of red folder news. Actually, today we do have Powell speaking. We have Trump speaking at noon. We have the Jackson Hole event. So we'll see what kind of shapes up in the overall markets. Yesterday, we talked about that inside bar day that was most likely going to occur since we did have flash services at 9:45. So just a lot of consolidation day yesterday. I personally took no trades just because we're inside bar, not too much continuation to both sides. We'll talk about some of the charts and some of the major indices and what can we expect at least coming to today with that red folder news, and then we'll head on to some tech names here as well. Before we do that, good morning. What's up, everyone? What's up, Non Tolly? What's up, Jeff? B Roots, Wayne? What's up, KO, Monty, I am. What's up, JT, Robert, Victor, Juan? What's up, Martin, Miss Reggie, Joseph? Good morning, everyone. What's up, Audrey, Robert, 2D, Eileen, Cinna, Ryan, Hartik, Hugo? What's up, everyone? Yeah. What's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Let's actually first pull up the economic calendar, and then we will head on to some charts that we have coming into today. Okay, as you can see
Market
here,
low once.
Oops, let me get rid of that. All right, so for the economic calendar, as you can see, today is Friday. We do have Fed Chair Powell speaking. That is going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also do have Trump speaking. That's going to be at 12 p.m. And then we have that Jackson Hole event that actually goes into the weekend here as well. So we'll see what shapes up here in the overall market, but we do have two major Fed speakers. We do have Fed Chair Powell speaking, and then we have Trump speaking as well. That's going to be later into the session. All right, let's head on to the charts to see exactly what we're looking for coming into today. So first things first here on the major indices. Let's go on to the ES chart. So as you can see, the key levels that we have marked out for the ES is your key low and also your previous high that we created here on Wednesday. And you can see price essentially was just in between its previous day's range, which was expected because the market was opening up right in between your Wednesday's highs and your Wednesday's low. So when we open up right in between equilibrium, we can expect a little bit more choppy price action, at least for the first 30 minutes. And once that first 30 minutes pass, right, we expected more chop for the rest of the day just because we're consolidating for that first 30 minutes. So as you can see here now, we had a little bit of a bigger move in the overnight session, and I can see we're right back in between its previous day's range once again. So now for downside here on the ES, it's going to be a lot more trickier just because of this overnight session gravitating down in towards your previous day lows. So at least for shorts, definitely going to be a lot more trickier. I consider this more of a double bottom. Let me actually just refine my level. So we can mark out your previous day lows. We can also mark out your Wednesday's lows here as well. So we actually have two key levels, your previous day lows. You have your Wednesday's lows. In my opinion, now the best shorts are going to occur underneath your previous day lows, your pre-market lows, along with your Wednesday's lows. Anything beforehand is going to be a much more difficult short just based off its pre-market action. So key levels that we have marked out: previous day lows, Wednesday's lows, and then we're going to also have now marked out your Wednesday's highs along with your previous day highs. We're just right in between the middle, so I'll be a little bit more cautious coming into market open, but this is the level that we can have marked out here as well. So we'll keep an eye out on these key levels, 6, 4, 10 here for the ES. As for the SPY chart, the exact same thing here, key levels that we're going to have marked out, essentially your 638.90s along with your Monday's lows, which is your 633. You can see yesterday what we had was an inside bar day. We're in between its Wednesday's range. So what can we expect today? Most likely here on the SPY, a little bit more consolidation. I do expect a little bit of volatility later into the session, when Jerome Powell speaks or when Trump speaks, but at least right off the bat, we'll see the reaction that we have coming to market open. We are about to open close to the middle of the range here. So key levels for the SPY chart now that we can have marked out is going to be your previous day highs along with this previous day low level. Best longs now are going to occur above your previous day highs. I personally like to see it above your 638.90s. And as for shorts, key levels is going to be your 633. So underneath your 633, or even this potential kind of pop and fade off this 638.90. So coming into today, kind of similar to yesterday, not really. The major indices are just kind of right in the range. We do have a lot of red folder news once again. So we'll see what shapes up within the first 15 to 30 minutes of market open. As for the NQ, similar thing here. You can see price came all the way back down in towards that 23,100. We also have your Wednesday's highs marked out here as well, which is essentially your 23,400. So for the NQ, very similar looking chart to the ES here, right? Very clear downtrend. A lot of consolidation yesterday. We're about to open up in the middle of the range today. So we'll see what happens within the first 15 to 30 minutes. So that's what we have for both the SPY. Essentially the SPY and the Qs chart in itself, key levels that we can have marked out. Similar thing here. Let me actually just get rid of this. Key levels that we have is going to be your previous day lows. We also have your previous day highs. Now we have your outer bar here as well. So what we'd like to see is the break above, right? Continuation towards that 568.50s. If we can break below your previous day lows, we can see that continuation down in towards your outer bar, which is your 558.85. But you can see in this case, we're right inside the middle of the range. So any big push, if it doesn't happen within the first 15 minutes of market open, you want to be a little bit more cautious. It's probably going to do something similar to yesterday, which is essentially just consolidate in between its previous day's range, unless we can have a really big push right off the bat. So we'll keep an eye out on these levels here for the QQQ. Let me actually just draw them out. So we have your previous low that we created from Wednesday. We have your high that we created from Wednesday. And now what we can mark out is going to be your previous day highs. And we can also mark out your previous day lows here as well. So these are the key levels I have coming into the QQQ. This is going to be one of the main charts that we're going to be looking for. You can see right in the middle of the range. We want to be cautious. All right, let's go on to some tech names that we do have. First things first, let's talk about Nvidia because this did have news overnight. You can see big gap down, but immediately kind of bought up, and now we're underneath its previous day low. So we have some bad news with that Jackson Hole from even this was from a while ago as well. But now you can see we had some news in the overnight session, potentially some negative news here on Nvidia. If it does want to see continuation, key level that we do have is going to be this previous day low pivot point. So for Nvidia coming into today, what we have here is your previous day lows marked out, which is our 174. With this gap down on Nvidia, we're at key level 174. If we want to see any sort of continuation, hold underneath 174 for a potential push towards the downside. If we reclaim key levels, then we're just going to come right back in between its previous day range. So what I personally like to see is your previous day low retest. We can also now mark out your pre-market lows. I consider this your pre-market lows just because of this big wick right here. So potential pre-market low retest underneath your 172 is also in play for continuation towards the downside. So that's what we have for Nvidia coming into today. This is the one that is showing relative weakness compared to the overall market. Had some news as well. So this one potentially could see your low of the week, which is going to be that 169. So we'll keep an eye out on Nvidia for a potential move towards the downside today. Let me actually clear up this. Let's go on to AMD. So AMD is still staying heavy here as well. So yesterday, just kind of right back in between its previous day's range after showing a lot of strength on Wednesday. But similar thing here, key levels that we can have marked out is going to be your previous day lows. So we can have this level marked out, which is your 162.50. Actually like AMD a little bit better here, just based off of the higher time frames and the price action that it does have. So for AMD, key level as well, 162.50, potential pop and fade for this continuation down in towards your pre-market lows, and potentially this 158 if markets do want to stay heavy. So we'll keep an eye out on AMD along with Nvidia for continuation lower coming into today. As for Tesla, Inside bar day here, a lot of consolidation yesterday. Key levels that we're now going to have marked out. Similar thing to the Qs and the SPY. We're just going to mark out your inside bar. So we're going to mark out your previous day highs, which we normally do anyways. And we can mark out your previous day lows. And these are going to be our key levels. If you can break underneath your previous day lows, we can see some continuation towards the downside. Break above your previous day highs, potential push back up and towards your 327. So for Tesla, I personally like to see the reaction that we have off this 319. If we can hold underneath that 319, we can see a little bit of a bigger push down in towards that 315 here on the higher time frame. So that's what we have for Tesla. As for Meta, this one we can zoom out on. As you can see, this one so far rejecting off this 748. So this is a higher time frame break and retest that we talked about. We're now underneath this key level of support. So for Meta, as long as you can maintain underneath your 748, potentially if we can start flagging, we can be looking for this bear flag for this higher time frame break and retest towards the downside. So this is what we have for Meta. I like to see it personally stay heavy underneath this this 748 if we do want to see any sort of continuation towards the downside. So that's what we have for Meta coming into today. Another inside bar day. So a lot of these names did have inside bar days with the overall indices themselves. As for Apple, this one, nice kind of pop right off the bat, faded towards the downside, but not too much momentum. Key level that we have marked out is that 225.50. You can see nice push right off the bat, but ultimately now we're back towards the upside, trying to reclaim this key level. So for Apple, this level still stands. If we can reclaim this level, we can see this push back towards the upside. If we hold back underneath this 225.50, we can see some more continuation lower towards the downside. So levels that we have marked out, we can actually refine this level here as well. Let's do that. Your previous day lows, your Wednesday's lows, along with this level that we had from yesterday. So key level 225.80. If we can hold back above, we can see this push back up and towards your previous day highs and above. Get underneath your 225.80. We can see this continuation all the way back down in towards that previous day low pivot point. So that's all we have for Apple. As for the rest of the names, Google actually showing a little bit of strength here. We did have some news overnight regarding Google along with Meta. The key level for Google is going to be your previous day high pivot point. So 203.44. If we can get above it, hold above your previous day highs, we can see this push up and towards that 205. If we end up rejecting this level, we're just going to come right back down in towards that gap fill that we created. So key level, previous day highs, 203.44 here on Google. As for Microsoft, this one's continuing to show weakness. Now it's just consolidating right above this 504. What I would like to see now for a push towards the downside underneath your 504 hold for this push down in towards that 500 and below. So that's what we have for Microsoft. And then Amazon, a little bit of consolidation here, but nice kind of opening drive play towards its previous day lows. You can see some buyers kind of stepping in off this general area. So for Amazon, key levels that we have marked out, previous day lows along with your previous day highs. If we can reclaim your previous day highs, potential move back up and towards your 224.50s. If we maintain underneath your previous day highs, potential kind of pop and fade down in towards this 220.50 here on Amazon. So that's what we have for some of the major indices along with the tech names coming into today. Basically the exact same game plan as yesterday with a bunch of red folder news in the market with Jerome Powell speaking along with Trump speaking. We're going to be a little bit more cautious right off the bat, just because we do have those major red folder news events and we're opening up right inside the middle of the range. So we'll see what happens within the first really 15 minutes of market open. As for the names that I'm somewhat interested in is the semiconductors, just because Nvidia had news overnight. So we'll be looking for semis if they do want to continue to show weakness towards the downside. And we'll also potentially keep an eye out on Google as well, just because this one also had news overnight. So these are the ones that we'll keep an eye out on coming into market open. As for a few other names here, we'll take a look at them here in a second. If you guys do have any tickers or any charts you'd like me to go over, I will take a look at them now. Let me take a look at Palantir here. So for Palantir, the key levels that we have marked out is our 157. You can see we have multiple touches. previous day highs is also your Tuesday's lows and also your Wednesday's highs. So this is your key level here for Palantir, above your 157 hold for a potential move back up and towards really this 160 if we're able to hold this 157. So far, market's overall weak. If we just reject off this level, potential push down in towards your previous day low here is in play, or underneath your previous day lows for continuation lower. And as for hood, what we have here is our 107.50. You can see multiple touches here on hood key level, and the reclaim is going to be above your previous day highs for continuation towards upside. All right, what's up, everyone? If you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over now, you guys can drop them in the chat and I'll go over them. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like. If you guys haven't joined the watch list, that one's in the description below. As for my YouTube video, I actually have one coming out tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It should be, hopefully it's the interview. It's actually pretty exciting. For everyone that knows, I've been saying that we've had this interview for a while now, but hopefully if we can release it, it'll come out tomorrow. It'll be a surprise, but if not, it'll just be most likely a higher time frame video. Okay, let me scroll up here. OPEX as well. Yeah, third week of the month, we usually have OPEX. Every single third week of the month, we have OPEX, which is on Friday. Okay, let me go over a few tickers here. MU. So MU key levels that we'll have is just your previous day highs. We can just refine this, and then we also have your previous day lows marked out. So basically the exact same thing as a lot of these other tickers. You're just going to mark out your previous day highs along with your previous day lows. If you do want to see continuation above your previous day highs, or now for continuation lower below your previous day lows. So that's what we have for most of these names here in the overall indices. As for Disney is just consolidating a lot more here. We ended up dropping with earnings, and we just filled this earnings gap back towards the upside. I think this was yesterday or the day before. So we had this earnings gap back towards the upside that we ended up filling. As you can see, we end up hitting this 117.30, and now you can see we're just consolidating generally underneath this key level. So for Disney, if you want to see any push higher, it's going to be above your 117.30. Hold above this level for this continuation towards upside. So far, you can see building up these higher lows. I'd like to see the break above, hold above this 117 for continuation towards upside. Let's see, IWM. As for IWM, you can see we end up reclaiming back above key levels. So for IWM, what we have marked out was your low that we created on Wednesday, which was at 223.95. And now we also have this key level, which is our 226. So you can see for IWM, nice reclaim here. What I would like to see now is this inverse head and shoulders play out. So I'd like to see now the hold above your 226. Which is also your previous day highs. If you can hold your 226, potential inverse head and shoulders is forming here on IWM. And we can see now this push back up and towards this 228.50. So key level previous day highs on that one. As for SoFi, this one looks, in my opinion, SoFi looks one of the best, right? Best looking charts here on the weekly time frame. I know it's been consolidating for the past 20 to 40 sessions here after having this nice move up and towards this key level, which is our 25 key psych, plus we had earnings as well. But for SoFi, this really looks like if the markets can hold up, is going to be the next leader up and towards this all-time highs level, which is your 28. So that's what we have for SoFi. You can see every single dip has just been bought up so far. You can see these lower highs are being put in. Now what we like to see is really this explosive move back up and towards your 25. And if you can get above this, right, 28 and all-time highs is in play here for SoFi. So at least coming into today, right, big drop on Tuesday. Now we're reclaiming back above key levels. So for SoFi, levels today that we're going to have marked out is just going to be your previous day highs. So your previous day highs, you can mark this out into the area that we dropped from, which is your 2340, multiple touches here. what we like to see on SoFi now is the reclaim back above your 2340 for this continuation back towards upside. Let me go over gold quickly. So yeah, gold, look at this. A lot of people always ask me to mark out gold. I mean, there's nothing really happening. I'm not sure what time frame you guys trade this on, but just daily charts consolidating. If you go into the 1 hour chart, this is just a lot more consolidation here as well. And then even if you go into lower time frames, potentially if you're on the 15-minute or you're on the 5-minute time frame, then you could be looking for some trading opportunities. But besides that, I mean, not really too much is sorry. Yeah, really not too much that you can see here on gold. Key level still is just going to be your 33.46, and then towards the downside, what we have here is your 33.20. Let me go over the Bitcoin chart. As for Bitcoin, this one is just pulling back here with the overall indices themselves, but you can see hit your all-time highs. Now we're pulling back. We're just coming right back into key levels of support, which is going to be this 110. So we'll like to see the reaction here off 110 here on Bitcoin. So this is the level we can just mark out, which is our down close candle. We can kind of drag it over. So this is our key level support. We like to see a little bit of reaction off this 110 key level. All right, that's what we have on this ticker. Let me scroll up here as well. Are you planning on trading before Powell? So Powell, let me bring up the economic calendar. Your opening range retest. So these are the key economic events that we have coming into today. We also just got, Trump just also got upgraded to a red folder news event. I'm not sure why it wasn't a red folder news event, but you can see here, what we have is Fed Chair Powell speaking at 10 a.m. and then President Trump speaking at 12 p.m. So today's definitely going to be a little bit of a trickier day, at least right off the bat, right? We're in between the range. Exact same thing as yesterday. So most likely there's going to be no trades today within the first 15 to 30 minutes again, just because we're about to open right in the middle. And if you're looking at this compared to Wednesday's range, we're dead smack in the middle. Right, you can see we opened up in the middle yesterday. We're about to open up again in the middle today, unless we have a huge push within the first 5 minutes to the upside or to the downside. I'm most likely not going to trade within the first 15 to 30 minutes. If the first candle looks like this and it's very small and we're in between its previous day highs along with its previous day lows, that's a no trade zone for me. And I'm going to be a little bit more patient and probably just wait for Jerome Powell to speak, and then we'll see what shapes up, and then we'll see if Trump affects the market later into the session here as well. So if the first candle's in between its range, it's indecisive, then we're going to be a little bit more patient. If the first 5 minutes pushes up and towards your previous day highs, then we could be looking either for the retest for a continuation higher, or there'll be even plays for a potential kind of pop and fade off of your previous day highs. So that's what we have for the major indices. And if the major indices are right in the middle, then most of these other tech names are gonna just consolidate here as well. As for the SPY, we're closer to its previous day high, so potentially we can see that push that I talked about right off the bat. And then for the names that I'm interested in downside, primarily are gonna be the semiconductors, AMD, along with Nvidia. All right, let me go over some more tickers here now as well. So for CRWV, this one after earnings, big push towards the downside. Key levels that we just have marked out now is your 94. So you can see nice push lower. Previous level support now turn into resistance, which is our 94. Now for CRWV, if you want to see any sort of reclaim or push higher, reclaim back above your previous day highs. 94 key psych level. If we keep maintaining these lower highs and we basically every pop is being shorted, right, we can expect this to continue back down in towards 89 and potentially your low of the week, which is going to be this 85. How do you trade if almost every stock is just consolidating? So that's if every single stock is consolidating, then I just don't trade, right? So if the markets are trending, or if we have nice breaks or continuation above your previous day highs or below your previous day lows, then we'll be looking to trade in the markets. If we're consolidating, then I'm not planning to take any trades. All right, for MP materials, this one slowing down just a little bit here now on the higher time frames, but still overall very bullish. We're just coming right back down in towards your down close candles, which we can have marked out on the daily chart. So we can just mark out this, go back onto the 1 hour time frame. Key levels that we have now on MP materials is your 71 along with the 65. If we're looking at this on the daily chart, this looks like a good higher low for now continuation back up and towards potentially your previous day, your all-time highs here, as long as you can maintain this 66. Number one, it has to maintain your 66. Number two, it's going to have to reclaim back above your 71 base and continue higher. So that's what we have for MP. I see some other people typing here as well. ESXPX, already went over those ones. Gold, yes, MSTR. Are you buying contracts of today or next week's? I'll most likely buy contracts for this week's, but I'm going to definitely be on lighter sides just because of the news events that we have. It's OPEX. We're inside the middle of the range unless we have a very clear setup, which I don't see anything in the pre-market so far. The only thing I do like somewhat is semiconductors for continuation lower, but that really could invalidate within the first 5 minutes if it just reclaims your previous day lows. So for MSTR, similar thing here, just mark out your outer bar and then we have an inside bar day. So almost every ticker had an inside bar day yesterday, at least the ones we've been looking at so far. So we'll see if now we can break above or below its previous day lows. That's going to be key for the major indices. All right, CrowdStrike. Hey Jack, how can you benefit by studying or knowing the VIX and options trading? So the VIX is really good for understanding volatility. So whenever the VIX spikes, that means we can expect more volatility in the market. So we had that VIX spike a couple days ago, and you can see big drop in the overall indices, and then we had some more continuation as well. So VIX is really good for day trading, and it's not as good for long terms, along with like swing trading, right? When the VIX is high, it's not that good for long-term plus swings, but it's really good for intraday day trading since the volatility is up. All right, so for CrowdStrike, key level that we have is your 420. If we maintain underneath your 420, we can see continuation lower. If we reclaim back above, we can see this push back towards the upside. Hi, Jack, to fill the form from Traders Lab, can I ask what your are you working on with Tony? What are you working on with Tony? The Traders Lab? The Traders Lab, I'm pretty sure you can only get access to Traders Lab either through, maybe you can get it through an access form, but most likely the only Traders Lab is open for everyone that's in the accelerator, not the public. But we do have Traders Lab. If you do want more information on that, you can book a call if you're in the accelerator. All right. May I ask what's your view on the Powell speech later? We'll see what shapes up. He was talking earlier about Nvidia at least last time, and then we have Trump speaking later into the day as well. So we'll see what shapes up. So we have him speaking at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That plus the Jackson Hole event that's going to last today, plus tomorrow as well. So we have basically three major events going on plus OPEX. It's going to shape up for a very interesting day. A lot of the times as well, whenever we have whenever we have these major news events in the markets, technicals, I'd say, kind of goes out the window, because we have something that's more important than technicals in itself, right? A lot of times we base trades primarily off technicals and logic and thesis and other things as well. But when you have something that's like a direct injection of volatility in the markets, right? Powell can say something, Trump can say something or drop a bombshell, and it just either launches the market or drops the market. That's why right now the VIX is currently high. If you're looking at this, right, you can see the VIX is somewhat still elevated, even though the market basically just consolidated yesterday. The reason being is now because Trump speaking, we also have Powell speaking, right? There could be like a big move in the market here just because that essentially that's what the VIX is pricing in, right? So if Trump's drops a bombshell, or if Jerome Powell drops a bombshell, then we're going to have major volatility in the market. So that's why currently, right, if you try and trade in between the ranges, you're going to lose a lot of money, because even if you do capture a nice trade, right, the VIX is high, so the premiums are juiced up because they are pricing in a bigger move here. So most likely you're just going to wait for, right, the news event, which in this case is Jerome Powell speaking, plus the Jackson Hole event. We're just going to wait to see what happens, and then we're going to react to price after that. So you don't really want to trade in between the ranges because we're going to get chopped around. OPEX premiums are juiced up. We just want to be very patient, especially after a really nice trending day really nice already week towards the downside. We want to be a little bit more cautious. Let's see. If you get the perfect break and retest before 10 a.m., should we take it? Or I would be very cautious if you do take it today, even if you get the perfect break and retest, right? The context is still not good with all the red folder news events. So if you get a perfect break and retest, Richard, it wouldn't be a perfect break and retest just based off the context, right? You can have an intraday setup with things that are aligned together. You just be on lighter sides. OKLO. So for this ticker, pulling back here on the daily chart, key level that you'd like to see reclaim is now going to be the 70, at least on the higher time frame perspective. What you don't want to see is this head and shoulders play out. You really want to see this reclaim back above your 70 for a hold for this continued push back towards upside. OPEX. OPEX is essentially happens every single third week of the month. It's when there's a lot of basically options that expire on the third week. So if you search that up, it's called OPEX, so you can get some more information on that. Let's see. Apple, I already went over this one. Google, would you like this for the upside? Yeah, if it can maintain above, this is the one that's showing relative strength. So Qs, you can see consolidation. Google showing some relative strength here because it had news overnight. We can be looking for it to maintain your previous day highs for a potential push up and towards this 203. I think I already went over HIMS. How's your August going so far? Are there times that you have multiple red days, and how do you overcome that? August so far is actually my best month of the year. Just because we've had a lot of volatility, some right kind of sizing with some plays earlier in the month, and even some trades this week as well. Definitely, most likely, fingers crossed, going to be my best month of the year. As for your second point, the multiple red days and how do you overcome it? It's just part of the game, right? Sometimes you're going to have winning streaks. Sometimes you're going to have losing streaks, right? Red days are just a part of the game. So if you've been trading for a while, right, you just kind of know that's what works, right? You're not going to be green all the time. You're not going to be red all the time. Does that have to do with the market conditions? Or does it have to do with your trade setups, right? Finding out why the reason you're red. If you're taking the trades you're supposed to, but you're being red, is it just the overall market in itself, or is it just based off of probabilities? All right, so for HIMS, key levels that we have is your 40.86, which almost hit on Wednesday. Not quite, but very close. As for HIMS, coming right back up and towards this key level, which is now, all right, we can kind of just draw this out, 44.50. Not too much to talk about. It's kind of just coming right back up into the area where we originally dropped from. You can see kind of sellers stepping in right off this 44.50. Now what we like to see is this, right, potential break underneath its previous day lows for this continuation back towards the downside. But yeah, that's what we have for HIMS. Let's see. Let me scroll down here as well. Why do you choose to trade stocks and not crypto and Forex? Just momentum plus leverage. I personally like trading options in itself, right? Especially if you're trading trends. Let's see. So you use days like this. Would it be better to use the previous day highs and lows? Exactly. Like if you don't want to trade within the range, right? If you want to trade within the range, right, you could always use the 5-minute high and low. But in this case, we're in between its previous day's range, so I'd much rather wait for the break above your previous day highs and previous day lows, right? Days like this, why was I interested in the 5-minute range low? I was interested in the 5-minute range low on these days is because we're breaking outside the range, so we can expect some more momentum towards the downside, right? Similar to this day, we can expect some more momentum towards the downside. We can use the 5-minute range. I was on the 15-minute chart, but it's breaking outside. Yesterday, I was talking about you probably don't want to use the 5-minute range because it's going to be choppy close to the open, plus you're you're going to wait for 9:45. So on this day, you can expect more consolidation. Exact same thing today, right? You want to be a little bit more patient and wait for most likely the reaction that we have off both these key levels, which is your previous day highs and previous day lows. All right. Let me go over my game plan coming into today, and then I will most likely call it a day here. So SPY and Qs, exact same thing I talked about earlier, along with the ES and NQ. We're just right in between its previous day's range. I don't like the fact that it ended up taking out its previous day lows here as well. So really shorts, kind of off the table for me, at least within the first 30 minutes, unless we have a huge drop. Right, so shorts kind of off the table for me here on the Qs, along with SPY. As for a long side, I'm only interested if it can break above your previous day highs, hold above your previous day highs for continuation. But even then, I don't really like longs either, just because we've been in a downtrend for this week, and I don't really want a long. There's not too much room, right, for a long position. If you're above your previous day highs, we could see your outer bar, but that's a very key level which it could very much well reject. So really shorts off the table with me for the first 30 minutes. Longs probably off the table. I'm just going to wait for the news event that is at 10 a.m. Plus we have 12 p.m. as well with Trump and then Jackson Hole. So very cautious today with the overall indices themselves. As for the tech names that I'm interested in, I'm actually interested for semiconductors continuation lower if we want to potentially maintain underneath their previous day lows, just because Nvidia did have news yesterday, right? So Nvidia had news yesterday. Now you can see this gap down. If we can stay heavy underneath their previous day lows, or now it's going to be underneath their pre-market levels, potentially we can see some more downside in towards this 169.50s. So semiconductors are the only names I'm interested in, just because they have news for potential move lower. We can also keep an eye out on Tesla, just inside bar day, so not that interested until we can break either the reaction or break above or below its previous day's range, similar to the rest of the tickers here as well. Google's one where I'm somewhat interested in upside here, just because this one had news as well overnight with Meta. So if we can maintain now above your previous day highs, potentially we can see, right, a push up in towards your 205 here and above. So that's what we have for the major indices, along with some of the names that we're looking at coming into today. It doesn't seem like we're going to have much. We're just going to essentially react to price. So I'm not expecting much, but that could very much change either within the first 5 to 10 minutes, or maybe with the news events that we have later into the session. So we'll see what shapes up here for the overall markets, but I don't have too much coming into today. I just kind of have alerts set. And I'm just going to be basing it off of intraday price action, along with the news that we have later into today as well. All right. Let me see. I see a few more questions here. Agreed with the contact being misaligned. Let's see. Thank you so much. I never factored into the high premiums. Thank you so much for the knowledge. You have changed the way I trade. Appreciate that, ZM. Believe me, this guy's a true. Appreciate that. What platforms do you use to buy and sell contracts to connect with TradingView? I personally use Interactive Brokers. I don't connect it to TradingView just because I like the TWS, but I'm pretty sure they allow it, so you have options now. Let's see what else. ZMCRM. Someone wants me to go over a Forex pair. I might as well go over this. Go over Forex. I'm not sure how many people, if you guys trade Forex, but this one's just consolidating a lot more. You can't even be on the daily chart. You essentially have to be on a micro time frame, right? You can see Aussie dollar just in between this range. That's why I personally don't like trading Forex, is just because it ranges a lot. There's a lot different reason for why Forex moves compared to major indices, but this one perfect for range traders. If you love continuation, then definitely not what you want to be trading. But high of the range, low of the range, you can see multiple rejections and bounces just off the high and low of these ranges. Okay. Let's see. Hey, I just got into day trading, but don't know how to execute the trades itself. Yeah, you can search up online if you want to, at least executions wise, or if you're talking about the charts plus executions, right? I have some videos just going over some live sessions. Questions: when he says 5-minute range, is he talking about the 5-minute chart? No, the 5-minute range is the first candle. First candle 5-minute range. So once that first candle develops at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right, that's going to be your 5-minute range. If this is what's called your previous day's range. So you have your previous day high, and then you have your previous day low. So this is your previous day's range. The 5-minute range is going to be the first 5-minute candle. I can't draw it out right now because the market hasn't opened. Thanks for your another pre-market prep. Will you trade Nvidia and Google before red folder news event if price moves? Yeah, I'll be the only names as I mentioned I'll be interested in will be AMD, Nvidia, and Google if I do take anything, right? Because those have news events. As for the rest of the tickers, I don't expect them to have moves unless the overall indices moves themselves. All right. Yeah, that seems about it. I am going to call it a day here. Game plan is intact. You guys can rewind it if you want the game plan once again. I also have a very short video recapping what I mentioned in the watch list below. But if you guys did enjoy that, appreciate if you guys drop me a like and sub. I do have a YouTube video coming out tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is about it. So yeah, be very cautious today with the red folder news. We have like 3 major news events in the market. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's not really a clear direction, but a lot of volatility. So I'd be a little bit more cautious. And that's about it. So I am going to call it a day here. I'm going to get ready for market open, and I will see you guys all next week. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the weekend. Peace.